Oh no. Maybe I won't be recording it. It says our storage is full. Oh,
It's
no, we're
not
good.
full. I mean, I cleared that out this morning because I
Okay,
got the same
well, it
emails. Let
says
me
it's recording, so I think we're good. Okay, well, staying in the know is our business in real estate, which can be difficult when we have multiple municipalities that we cover. But whether we are working with buyers and we want to make sure we're protecting their best interest on their upcoming purchase and answering any questions that they have, or if we are representing some sellers and just want to make sure we are over disclosing anything and everything, it is of the utmost importance that we understand what is happening in the world around us, whether that's upcoming expansions in roadways, growth that's planned, changes in zoning, or if we just have a common question that we run into all the time and don't quite know where to find it, which is why we're doing sessions like these. And we're starting off with Apex. Understandably, we love our downtown Apex office, and it is our goal to be really invested in our community everywhere, but especially in the places where our offices are located. So Amanda has so willingly volunteered her time to be a resource to us and answer all of our questions, go over what's coming up next in Apex, and then to give you guys an opportunity to ask away anything that's on your mind, anything you've been looking to find, and to provide us resources so that when those situations do come up, we know exactly where to look so we can be top of mind and get those answers in a timely manner. So Amanda, thank you for being with us today.
Okay, yes, my pleasure. Good to be here with you all. Um, so I'm just going to start off. A lot of people don't even really know what the planning department does. And if you've been through Apex Peak Academy, then you've probably seen a couple of these slides before. But the planning department covers a lot of functions, not all of which you would necessarily need to be aware of in real estate and helping out your clients. But I always like to show people just how much we do in the town of Apex. There's a lot from plan development to reviewing plans, being involved with transportation plans, zoning permits, and even zoning compliance. So there's a lot that we're involved in. Um, and then I just wanted to give a very brief overview because a lot of people don't understand the difference between land use plans, our future land use plans, and zoning. And so we have currently a 2045 land use map, which has, and I'll review this a little more later, but it gives broad categories of different types of land uses that the community wants to see over the course of a 30-year period. Or I think yeah, it was a 30-year period. And so the last time we updated this, the date was updated to 2045. We got community input. We focused primarily in certain high growth areas for tweaks to the map and took the input that we received from the community and proposed changes to the land use map as a result of that input. And that map was ultimately reviewed by the planning board and the town council for final decision. So that gives the guide. It's guidance. It's not law. Zoning is what development must follow. So in high growth areas, it's important to be aware of both because if you're selling a property to someone and it's that beautiful wooded lot behind the house and look how much privacy there is, you need to know what the future plans are potentially for that property behind it because those trees probably aren't going to that dense forest isn't going to always be there. Or that field that has, the horses or whatever. So that attracted people to the area. Things are likely to be changing. And so the land use map gives a long-term picture of what could happen, and the zoning gives the picture of what's allowed right now. I did want to say that we are in the just really getting started with an update to that land use map. We are now looking forward to 2055. And so we are updating our entire comprehensive plan, looking at the community as a whole. We held two public open houses last week to receive input from the community as far as what people like, what people don't like, what they want to see more of or less of, and just to get people educated as far as what plans are already on the books, so to say. And so I would encourage you to visit this website. And there's chances for, I think there's still a survey that's open for the public to participate in through I want to say it's early November, so there's still time to engage with that. But it also keeps you updated of what the next steps are. So we are currently in this phase one discovery of hearing from our stakeholders, hearing from the public, collecting data, analyzing existing conditions, and holding the public forum. So that's kind of where we're just starting to get wrapped up on. The next phase, we'll be working on creating a new vision and some in different areas, and then working on updating that land use plan, and then ultimately heading into policy recommendations. So there'll be more public forums and opportunities for the public to be engaged as we go through the process. And Apex community is always really super engaged in these community meetings and surveys, more so than in other communities. So we love that we have an engaged public. For this next map, I wanted to give you some helpful resources because I think that's the thing that, from my experience in working with realtors and some friends that I have that are realtors that are always asking me, how do I find this? How do I help? We have a zoning map or a map that's a little maybe you're more user friendly and with some different layers than what's available through Wake County iMaps. And we've named this a peek at Apex. And you can access it from this website that's at the bottom of the screen. In fact, if you just get to apexnc.org/1378, that'll get you there. But and I'm going to pull this map over. I have it open and just show you how easy it is to interact with it. So I have turned on the thoroughfare and collector street plan layer. So this layer shows where there may be future roads planned. Where you see dotted lines, that means the road's not there, but it's planned to improve our connectivity. And then the solid lines show existing roads. And I mean, there's all kinds of layers that you can turn on and off. Intersections would show whether there's a roundabout or a bridge over a major highway, for example, and whether the roads are main roads like thoroughfares like Olive Chapel Road or Old US 1, or local connectors, which are more like residential types, connections between residential areas. I also have turned on the 2045 land use map, and you can click on the three dots beside of a layer, and a lot of them will allow you to adjust the transparency. So it will probably load for you solid like this, but I turn it down so I can see the streams and other features underneath it. And then you can click on an area, and well, that's the school campus, so it says school, but it'll show you like this area is designated as low density residential. So there's a lot of layers in this section. There's even a layer that lets you turn on where the active rezonings are or recently approved rezonings. Our bicycle plan, which will show greenways, should be in this list. That one is not. Okay. I may have to report that layer as not being quite up to snuff right now. And then you can show parks and it'll say future if it happens to be a future park not existing. So there's just a lot of it's just fun to play around with, and even the names of neighborhoods. So if there's a realtor that's new to the area, doesn't know all the names of the subdivisions, this is a great resource as well. So that's just one resource that we have. The other another helpful resource is our development dashboard, and this is the link to that. And I'm going to go to that and show you all the helpful information that's there. Where is this opening? There we go. So this will take you to our developments, documents, and processes, and then you can click on Development Dashboard. Yes, okay. And so there's just a lot. If you really like to nerd out on what's going on in Apex, then this is a fun website where you can just find a lot of information as far as like our development projects, how many are proposed, approved, and under construction. The development projects by type, non-residential, residential, public, or mixed use. And I'm going to get you to a different map that's a little better. So you can click on our population dashboard, and this will give you our running estimate of what the population in Apex is now. And so we're up to over 82,000 now. And you can zoom into the map and see where we've recently issued certificates of occupancy. So where there's houses coming online, even which properties have received COs recently. And then let's see, the next one I wanted to show you was the interactive development map. You may already be familiar with this. That's not the interactive development map. There we go. I clicked on the wrong thing. If you have a client that's saying, hey, I know I'm moving in an area where things are changing, and what is going on here? What's it going to look like next to this existing house that I'm buying? You can search by address, or you can just zoom around like you would on Google Maps or on iMaps. And trying to think of a good area to show. All these yellow areas are under construction, but if you click on one, this shows you that this is Bridalwood at Friendship Place. It even shows the former name, when it was submitted, when it was approved, and you can click this more information link and it will bring up a copy of the approved. This one should be updated with a copy of the approved plans, not the application, because it's under construction. So we do our best to keep this up to date, but there's a lot of development activity, and so things can lag. But it at least gives you an idea of the subdivision plan. So if someone were, purchasing this lot right next door, they may be interested in being able to see exactly what's proposed next door to the property they're looking at purchasing. And then the same is true for rezonings. You can click on an area and it will pull up this proposed zoning conditions, and you can see that in real time, and we update that as those rezonings go through the process. So this is a very useful and easy to use tool, or if you know the name of a development, you can search for it. You can scroll through the list and just, click on it, and it will take you right there. So that's the interactive development map. And there's a link to that as well, I think on the town's homepage, and there's a lot of links to this because it's one of our most popular tools.
Brian, you had your hand raised at one point. Did you have a question about any of that?
She ended up covering it.
Okay.
It was just about if I'm standing at a property with a client and there's that field behind it, is this the tool that I would go to look to see? And it sounds like it is.
Yes, definitely. This would at least let you know whether there's a rezoning proposed or a development proposed or under construction. Well, you would know if it's under construction, but and if it was under construction, then what it's likely to look like. And again, it's not always 100% up to date. We do our best to update that as we're able to, but if you ever have any questions, if what's shown online is the most accurate, then you can, the best email address to use is on the planning department's homepage, but it's planning. I can never remember if there's a dot between planning and info, so I'm going to test it. Hold on. No, planninginfo@apexnc.org. That will get you to our helpful planning technicians who will know how to if they can't find the answer for you, they know who on staff can get the answer for you. So if you ever have a question, if it's the most up-to-date version, just email planning info and we'll find that answer for you.
Well, let me ask a follow-up. So
Sure.
if, it's one thing let's say there's nothing proposed or approved on this land, and we can
Mhm.
see that it's zoned whatever, agricultural, something. But we would then need to look at that future land use map, right? And see, well, it's agriculture right now, but it's not, I mean, that's probably not what the future of Apex is going to be there. So like, is that right? That if we see there's nothing approved there, but we know it's empty land, we should go look at the future land use map?
Yes, the future land use map is definitely a great resource. Now, keep in mind, it's not it's not fixed in stone. It can change. Um, and so that's what I always, caution people about is, and everything is subject to change, right? There's always going to be a public process for that to go through. Staff can't just willy-nilly start changing the colors on the map. It has to go and town council has to approve that. Um, but that is a good resource is because at least as of that day, you can say, this is what it's projected to be. What it will look like under that land use classification, could vary widely, but that is a good resource to go to.
Well, you kind of touched on one other question I had, which
Mhm.
was, can the property only be rezoned when a property owner or prospective buyer are attempting to rezone it, or can the town just kind of unilaterally, whether that's town officials or city council or whatever, is there a process that is unrelated to the property owner that could update the zoning?
Generally speaking, it's up to the property owner has to request rezoning. There is the ability for the town to initiate rezonings, but it is very rare. I don't even know the last time the town did that on a large scale basis. It typically only happens if the town is changing its how its zoning ordinance is structured and the names of zoning districts. That happened back in 2000. Apex moved from a separate zoning and subdivision ordinance to a unified development ordinance and modernized a lot of the districts, changed names, and consolidated some. So as a result of that, there were some changes in zoning boundaries and names. And so there was a town-wide rezoning. And there's special noticing requirements, and it's a whole thing. So it's not something that we're ever looking at on a, you know, I've been here 11 years and we haven't discussed that. Okay, any other questions before I move forward? Okay, there'll be more time. Okay, we covered interactive development map. Oh, now I'm just in questions. I mean, I can't speak to like town initiated infrastructure updates. Most of that's handled by like the Transportation Infrastructure Development Department or other things like that. I will say a lot of one of the huge factors in development potential of properties, of course, is water and sewer availability. For the most part, water and sewer utilities are extended by a developer. The town doesn't just go out and start extending water lines or sewer lines. Typically, we do occasionally have big projects where we may have a capital improvement project to do that. But generally speaking, it's up to development to extend services, and generally development builds roads as well, with some exception. Um, so yeah, now I'm open to any types of questions you have about planning, what we do, how you can find the information you need.
One question I had from just the very beginning, you mentioned Apex Peak Academy and asked if
Mhm.
anybody had been through that. They may have seen it before. So I guess I don't know what that is. So what
Okay.
is that? And is that something that agents should be thinking about?
Yeah, so the Peak Academy is, I want to say, an 8 or 9 week session. I think they meet either every other week or I only have to present it one of the weeks, so I'm not sure of the frequency of the meetings, but it covers every department, all aspects of town government. So you get a session with police, fire, parks, um, water resources, planning, building inspections, economic development. So it's basically just getting an overview of all of the departments and getting exposure to everything about town government. So if you're just really want to be engaged and in your community or just know more, just learn more, it's a really great program.
This
And
isn't
we
your your lane, but is this something that is common for towns or is this unique to Apex? I'm just not familiar with it.
It's not uncommon. Usually you find it in mid to larger size communities. I think Town of Cary has something similar. I don't know about Holly Springs or Fuquay or other places, but I think it's becoming more and more common. And the sessions usually fill up. So I will say it's very popular.
Very cool. Thank you for sharing all of this. Just those links alone are such a big resource. So I'll be sure to
Yeah.
put something together and send it out to agents so we can bookmark it because that's the biggest question that we have. And we want to make sure we're guiding people. And yet, that simple question of like, what's going to be back there? All we can do is say, well, we don't know. None of us know the future, but it's nice to at least have put eyes on it. That's what we should be doing at a minimum. So
Yes.
knowing
Yes.
where to start.
Yes, we consistently talk to people who believe that what was next to them was always going to be like that. And, it's like, I hate to break it to you. Um, so those are all good resources and generally people buying property is a stressful process. They don't know everywhere to look. And, so yeah.
So let me ask this. Agents are often supposed to be the source of like everything, but there's no way we can be an expert on Apex town planning and whatnot. So we can utilize these resources. But is there a specific place like would planninginfo at apexnc.org be the right, or that was it org or gov? Would that be the right place to send a consumer if we say, hey, look, this is what we think based on the resources we see online, but if this is really important to you, you need to talk to the town to get whatever level of comfort you need. Who do we send them to?
Yes, I think if they have general questions about the area around a property they're looking at, planninginfo at apexnc.org is a great starting point. And in fact, just so you all know, like all three of our planning technicians are realtors. Like they don't work in Apex, they can't sell in Apex, but that used to be their full-time jobs. And they have made fabulous planning technicians. One, because they have great customer service skills. They know how to talk with people. And so we hired one initially. She's our lead planning technician now. And it's just like, oh, wow, she's really good at this because she knows what people need, what they're looking for. And so we've kind of recruited for our other two positions because of that. So, um, they're a great resource to being able to talk to people and getting a basic level of information to them that they need. And beyond that, then they can forward them on to a planner if necessary.
One of our agents put in the chat, she was hoping that you could give a quick overview of Viridia. I'm not sure if that's how you say it.
Yes, actually. In fact, let's see if I can change. I haven't used this view. I had a slide and I was like, well, they might not ask. So let me unhide this. Um, so I'm the primary project planner for Viridia, and this is just this is from their website. So I took this directly from their website. So it's not necessarily everything on here is exactly how it's going to be. This is where the North Carolina Children's Hospital is going to be, assuming everything goes well and they get their General Assembly money and um, and all of that. But that's going to take up everything west of Viridia Parkway. So this is 540, and this is Viridia Parkway. Um, there's a lot of things on the east side that have come in for review. Lennar is under contract to purchase um, all of this area in here for single family, detached townhomes, and some condos. And they have plan approval, but they haven't closed with RXR on the purchase of that yet. RXR is about to receive plan approval for two apartment buildings here. This is all conceptual in this area for now. They are proposing a mix of office and retail uses, very urban, up to the street. If you've been out to Fenton, something along those lines, but not quite as tall right in here. Um, Wait Tech has purchased this property, and we should be receiving their initial site plan submittal sometime in the spring. They hope to open and have their first students in spring of 2030 for their first phase. And I think it's either one or two buildings. I think it's one building in their first phase. Um, Wake County Public Schools has purchased property here. I don't believe it's in their 7-year CIP to build an elementary school here yet, but there will be an elementary school, or at least they've land banked the typical land size of what they need for an elementary school here. This will essentially be, but this is Jesse Drive. So if you're familiar with Apex, Jesse Drive intersects 1010, but eventually the plan is for it to connect all the way across 55, and then it will continue all the way to Viridia Parkway. Viridia will soon be starting construction on a couple of industrial buildings south of 540, and they've kind of had in their vision for industrial over on the southwest side as well, but their vision for what's going to happen in the remainder of their area is up in the air since the announcement of the Children's Hospital. It's kind of given a whole new opportunity to re-envision what all of that could look like. And so we've not received anything or any like high level concepts of what could be happening in this area, but there will be more residential. It's just a question of what type. We don't know yet.
Oh, thank you. If there was ever a person to ask about it, it was definitely you.
You got the right person. Yeah.
You guys have any other questions for us?
I got a
Awesome.
question.
Yeah, Eric, what you got?
Hey, I've been doing a lot of digging lately for sites in Apex, Holly Springs, other places for ADUs, and I've done a few. In Apex, I'm finding some conflicting stuff where, there's several small homes we've looked at on larger lots, and in some of the accessory use documents you have, I see that it can only be 25% of the home square footage. In other areas, small town charter overlay, for instance, it says it could be 50%. You have in the maps that you were showing the peak apex, you may not know this directly, but if you could lead me to where I could get the best information on that. Is it in the maps that you were just showing?
Uh,
As far as specifics, or I'm sure you got a
uh,
person.
yeah, no, it's not in the maps.
Okay.
But if I can, okay.
And are you guys pushing to kind of stimulate that activity a little more lately? I know some of the local laws have been changed.
Well, we have allowed, sorry, give me just a second to get
That's okay.
to
Yeah.
where I want to get. Um, Apex has allowed ADUs by right for many years, and
Hmm.
there are standards for them. So if you go to the planning department's homepage, there's a link to our Unified Development Ordinance.
Hmm.
And for ADUs, it's going to be in Article 4 under
4.5,
accessory.
I think.
Yep, 4.5. You're
Yeah.
exactly right. And so
Yeah.
there is a section specifically for accessory apartment.
Okay.
And so this doesn't follow the typical 25% limit for an accessory structure. This is more
Yeah.
flexible. So if you're outside of the small town character area, the size of the house is limited to 40% of the heated square footage of the principal dwelling. And inside the small town character overlay district, which is primarily inside the Peakway, a little bit smaller area than that,
Mhm.
then you're limited to no more than 50% of the heated square footage or 1,000 square feet, heated square feet, whichever is smaller.
Okay.
And then there are standards for, similar building materials. Um,
Sure.
but
Setbacks and
yeah, but
land and all that.
that's it.
Okay.
There's not a lot of standards that go along with it. So
Okay.
we're
Okay.
very open to accessory dwelling units.
Thank you.
Other thing you need to consider though, um, and this might be the case if you're working with someone who's looking at a house and like, this is great, but we want to add on another bedroom. We want to add, some kind of storage building in the back or whatever. They
Yeah.
also need to be aware of um, the table of intensity, dimensional standards, the maximum built upon area, how much of the lot can be impervious. So that's going to include anything that water can't get through, sidewalks, driveway, if it's paved, the house, any other structures or buildings. There's a definition of built upon area in our ordinance, but you just can't exceed that. So sometimes people have run into this when wanting to build an ADU, that the size that they wanted to build causes them to hit up against this maximum built upon area.
Sure, sure. Okay, thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. That was a good question.
Anyone else have any questions? Wonderful. Well, I know most of them will come when you are out in the field, and so it likely isn't something on your mind right now. But like I said, when this recording goes out, I'll be sure to include the linked resources so you can bookmark those, and then I'll be sure to also include that email address so that as things come up, hopefully you can find them, but if not, you'll know who to reach out to. Amanda, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for doing this. We love
Sure.
being a part of your community, and we
Yeah.
appreciate you taking time for us.
Thank you. It was my pleasure. Have a
All right.
great day, everyone.
Likewise. Thanks,
All
y'all.
right. Bye.
Bye.